Hello everyone and welcome to a new episode of the Bug Warrior. In today's video I will show you how to get 20 Mythic Uniques and 4 Resplendent Sparks from a single Mythic Prankster Sigil by either hosting or joining a Mythic Prankster ROTA. Finding a Mythic Prankster dungeon is quite a challenge. It is a very rare sigil that you can get by either farming world bosses or by crafting it yourself at the Occultist. So the last thing you want to do is waste an amazing opportunity to get a lot of mythics. So the way to achieve all this from a single Mythic Prankster Sigil is by running a Mythic Prankster ROTA. A Mythic Prankster ROTA is a group of 4 players where each one of them will open a Mythic Prankster Sigil, so everyone gets the loot times 4. While this idea sounds simple, a lot of things can go wrong, so please allow me to explain what you should and shouldn't do. Alright, so step 1 after finding the sigil is to either post in the trade channel that you are looking for a Mythic Prankster ROTA or wait for someone to request the party. Regardless if you're hosting or joining, before doing anything, all players need to show their Mythic Prankster Sigil by posting it in the chat. This can be done by linking the sigil in the party channel. Trust me, this is a critical step because believe it or not, some players join the ROTA without having a Mythic Prankster Sigil, so when it's their turn, they simply leave. Of course, that is not cool, and in the old days people would just trust blindly. But because of these issues, now players always request to present their sigils to at least confirm that they indeed can join and run. Of course, this doesn't stop someone from leaving, but I found that 100% of the time, players that presented their sigils, it all worked out. Step 2 is to decide the order in which the sigils will be opened. This means who will go first and then who will follow, until every player has opened its sigil. Personally, I always go second, but this is just because of previous bad experiences. Regardless, once the order has been decided, the first player asks if everyone is ready and opens the sigil upon confirmation. Step 3, once the sigil is open, is to wait for everyone to be inside. This sounds obvious, but I've seen players rush and they immediately start killing, and if the goblin happens to be near the entrance and someone wasn't in yet, that player won't get the rewards. So confirm everyone is in before you begin. Step number 4 is to make sure you kill the goblin. Okay, I know this also sounds obvious, but I have seen the Fancy Old Fedric goblin escape because of 2 very common mistakes. The first one is that players begin to run together instead of spreading out and killing everything in their paths. The problem with sticking together is that many builds can accidentally hit the goblin without killing it, such as the Oradin or the Lightning Sorcerers. If that happens, the goblin immediately will begin running and try to escape. And if you are too busy just following the leader, you won't pay attention and the goblin can escape. This happens especially on big maps. So spread out and kill everything as you move. The second problem I often see is that players don't check the minimap. This is critical for builds that are too fast and ranged. Since you might be running, then the goblin appears for a split second in the minimap, meaning that most likely you already hit it, and if you continue running and didn't notice, the goblin will escape. So keep your eyes on the minimap at all times and don't run too fast. It also helps a lot to use headphones because remember that when you are near the goblin, it will make a sound. Step 5 is to wait for everyone to collect the loot. Whoever kills the goblin needs to notify the team in the chat that the goblin is dead by simply saying here or something like that. Next, you need to place a marker in the map so the rest can go to the location. Remember that everyone will get the loot as long as they are all inside the dungeon, regardless of how far away they can be. Step 6 is to leave the dungeon once the goblin is dead. Do not waste time finishing the sigil, especially if you got an escalation nightmare dungeon. Just collect the loot and teleport back to town. Step 7 is to reset the dungeons. Whoever is the party leader needs to ask everyone if they have collected the loot and wait for them to confirm that they are out. Once everyone is out, the party leader begins the request to reset the dungeons, and then all players need to vote. It is very important that you have collected the loot and that indeed you are out before accepting the reset, because if you accept it and you are inside, you will immediately be kicked out of the dungeon and it will close for good. So again, confirm you are out and then reset. Step 8 is to repeat the process until all 4 sigils have been consumed. If all goes well, you should end up with 20 Mythic Uniques, 4 Resplendent Sparks, and congratulations, you have run a Mythic Prankster ROTA successfully. Now you see why it's not a good idea to run the Mythic Prankster Sigil alone, or even worse, pay for a seat to join a Mythic Prankster Sigil. I often see in the chat people charging between 3 to 5 billion for a spot without knowing what they are doing. And well, imagine you paid 5 billion only to see the goblin escape. So it's not just about getting more mythics, it's about getting help and confirming that everybody knows what they are doing, so the goblin doesn't escape. So there you have it. I decided to make this video because lately I have been hearing all sorts of stories of wasted Mythic Prankster sigils, so I really hope this helps you out. We reached the end of the video. Thank you very much for watching. If you made it this far and found the video interesting or useful, please consider to share, like, comment or subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.